Hey, good morning, Neverland. It's nice to be back. Nice to make another video. It's funny, man. Even with everything going the way that it is for me, it's kind of par for the course. I really feel like collectively, like everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, guys. I'm really feeling it. That's why I was cautiously optimistic about getting out of here, but the city, I mean, and going to a new city, which I felt like was going to be a better fit. I just got to be patient. I just got to be patient. Apparently, I still have business here. I guess is like I didn't think I did, but apparently I do. So I'm gonna stick around, take care of what I need to, and then we'll go from there. So that's that update on there. What I wanted to make this video about specifically was a clarification, because so much of I feel like society is confusing. It's very confusing. And if you're going to watch my content, I'm going to play around with my hat and do other stuff, touch my face and everything. I'm going to do that. Just deal with it. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch me. Just listen to me then. If you like my content, I don't know why you're here if you don't. Thanks for the hate love anyway then. Okay, but back on subject. We need to talk about ego, guys. We need to talk about ego, because it is a term which has a lot of vagueness in it. Because it tends to side with either ego. It depends on who's talking. This is why we always have to ask qualifying questions when we're listening to people talk about things, because the natural tendency is to jump to a conclusion and use a pre-existing definition that we have for the words that they're using. And when we do that there's miscommunication. The whole point of words is to communicate our intentions, is to communicate, the actual thoughts and ideas which we're feeling, experiencing. Anything else other than that is a manipulation. And this is why, in my opinion, it's so important to drop addictions, is so that we can have that clarity of body and spirit, so that we can pick up on those sensations. And we have a proper feedback mechanism, and then we can make proper choices. So related to that, ego. And so we have ego on one side, which is, it's a sense of self. So it's like a neutral term. All right, there's I know this might be a little bit far out for some people, but if you're following my content, you're going to be listening to people who are probably similar. And so this isn't that big of a revelation, if it's a revelation at all, but we're all connected. Everything's one. Everything's all one. The illusion of separation is just what it is. With that said, what I would say is there's an illusion within time, and also within, I would say, a mental framework to allow the experience of individuation. And so that's what the ego is. On that level, on this level, that's what the ego is. The ego is a sense of self that is separate, that is individuated from the rest of creation, experience, the environment. Without that sense of self, then there is no individuation between the environment and this entity in this particular case. My particular view of things is that there's a minimal ego in animals, and sometimes there's no ego, where and I know people would probably argue with me too that the animals don't even have an ego, and that's potentially very true. What I've seen is that as animals interact with humans more, they tend to start to develop an ego as well, a sense of self that's individuated from the rest of the environment. And so I think it's just a natural progression of things on that level. However, let's talk about the other side, on this side, right? And this side is ego is a false sense of self. And so do you see the difference? Just telling these words. One, ego is the sense of self, just a technical term for sense of self. And on this side, ego actually means a false sense of self. All right, a false sense of self. And so we essentially have the same word to explain the same thing, which are almost diametrically opposed. And so we are fighting when if we're resisting ego, if we're resisting the false sense of self, if we're trying to fight against this, especially if we're unclear on terms and terminology and we don't know what we're doing, we're going to be fighting against this, our actual sense of self. And that's going to cause conflict, and I would say cognitive dissonance, because you can't not have a sense of self almost. This is my concern with AI in particular ways, is that if we dissolve the sense of self to such a point, there's no sense of self, there's no ego, then what we're looking at is, not good, guys. That's how people are getting manipulated. If you don't have a strong sense of self, then it's like I could say, hey, you know what? How about you give me all your money and the clothes off your back and let me sleep in your house and eat your food? And, if I want to rough you up, I can. All right? All of that stuff, if I don't have a sense of self, I don't even have the capacity to say no. There's no capacity to say no without a sense of self. There needs to be some individuation in order to allow that experience of choice to be present. And so individuation is not a bad thing. It's a natural process. And so let's go back to this side. This needs to be addressed though too, because this is not. We can't just, oh yeah, sense of self, which is, it's true, and working on it and feeling it, but we shouldn't confuse our sense of self with the false sense of self. All right, and this is why I don't I use my terminology and I define what I'm talking about. Sometimes in some videos or in conversation, I'm going to say ego and I'm going to mean false sense of self. I'll clarify, and then on the other times, I'm gonna say ego is just a regular sense of self, and then I'll clarify that too. Like part of my premise is authenticity, accuracy, and transparency. All right, that's what we need in the world. Like I'll stand by that. Period. We'll see what happens there, but that's my stance. That's my motto. That's where I'm going from. And so there we go. And so going back to the ego. Right, the false sense of self-ego. This is what keeps us trapped. When we over-identify with a sense of self which is separate, which is completely separate from everything else. And I'm saying to an nth degree. Now, because this is the weird paradox where when a sense of self which is individuated kind of is able to see and understand that everything is actually connected and the separation is only like a layer of time, with the experience that allows it to catch up. I don't know how to phrase it. I'm going to try to think of different ways, but it's like the separation, it is an illusion. And so when that really exists, it gives a much greater understanding of individuation, because you can say no. There's when you have a good sense of self, you kind of realize that everybody has a sense of self as well. And so when you're connected to the whole, that sense of self is supported. That sense of self is encouraged, loved, because it's part of the whole. When that sense of self doesn't see itself as part of a whole, then that's, in my opinion, that's when it really becomes a false sense of self, because that's not accurate. It's not accurate that we're really truly separate from everything, and it's that perception which causes that fear, which causes all of those negative emotions, because it's based upon was it? Fear, right? False evidence appearing real. I had to remember the acronym, but false evidence appearing real, fear. And this is from a spiritual sense of the term. Of course, we're going to get a little adrenaline boost and everything if a tiger is chasing us or a guy with the guns pointed right at us, but that's a different situation. And even then, in that moment, I would say if you can be present, really present with the connection of everything, you will dodge bullets, or the gun will misfire, or something else will happen. The guy won't want to shoot you. There's a plethora of different possibilities. But when we're connected to the whole, and we understand that we're also a solid sense of self, that's what the universe and the whole wants for us, to be this individuated sense of self, which is connected, which is connected to everything. And so we need to be willing, like this becomes the game, and what I'm seeing, the disparity in the current, I would say, the fall of like the Western Empire, like the United States. I'm just going to be real, guys. It's burning. Like I wanted to make a video, just a quick video of just me saluting, the American flag, and it's burning. It's just burning. And then, Amazing Grace is just playing in the background, because that's how I feel, guys. It's just like, wow, it's up to us now. It's up to us now, because there's no help coming from above. I mean, we're connected to everything, and so it's the divine coming through us, because the help from above is a false notion. There is no above. All right, yeah, I get it. There's a sky and everything. I'm not saying that. It's more just like we're on equal footing. And I would say, especially as humans, any human who is ruling over or commanding another human, I don't trust. Like, essentially speaking, I don't trust that ruler, and I don't trust those followers either. But maybe that's another subject for another day. But just like the abusive personalities who are very controlling and manipulative, yeah, they're bad. The people who support and enable and follow those individuals, I'm a little more concerned with those people, in my opinion. That's always been my premise, where it's just that's why one of the old sayings, where it's just like, well, I might be paraphrasing here, but in order for evil to win, good men need to do nothing. If we do nothing, then it just wins, because we won't survive if we do nothing. Like that's the key factor. In order for good to win, we just need to survive. We just literally need to survive as ourselves, genuinely, authentically, not sacrificing ourselves at the altar to the false self. Because the false self will make all of these kind of promises. It'll say, you want to be separate from the whole, and that you need to listen to. Well, it's nefarious too, because if we don't have a healthy sense of self, what ends up happening is we feel so separate from everything that we will grasp at straws subconsciously, and then that's when what I would say herd dynamics come in. We cling to herds, and then those herds are what end up becoming our substitute for being connected to the whole of all, and that's where it's really dangerous. The reason it's a process, and it can help us reestablish our connection to the whole, but it can also be, I would say, a choke point. Because what tends to end up happening is the leadership of those particular organizations gets addicted to their power and their status, and then they don't want to lose it. And so rather than integrate and help their followers also connect with the all, they kind of disconnect from the all themselves, and then they, I don't know what to call it, guys. I'm very blunt sometimes. I'm just like, they start stealing. They steal people's energy. It's a very interesting experience where consent is a very interesting thing to say, because on the physical level, it won't ever be acknowledged. This wasn't consented, blah 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 blah. But then they'll say it was, blah 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 blah. Consent is an interesting thing. Consent is an interesting. That's a conversation topic for totally different video. Back on the subject though, for the ego, this is why it's so important. If we don't have a good sense of self, we got nothing. We got nothing to stand on, and then we're going to be taken advantage of. And at the same time, if we're over attached to a sense of self that's false, then what's going to end up happening is we're going to be beholden to structures and dynamics which don't serve us, which don't serve our sense of self, which don't serve the all. And then we're going to feel it. Like that's the situation. Like so much of my explanations and talks about this is to help you feel better. All right, this is the whole premise of everything. All right, this is why I'm not service to self, I'm not service to others, I'm service to all. Like when we recognize the truth, all right, and we love the truth, it sets us free. And part of the initial process is pain. All right, it is painful. It's like a birthing process, and it is what it is. And that's also why most people don't choose to undergo it. It's something which ends up happening, kind of. It's like, it's time. It's like the universe decides, just like, all right, it's like a double check almost. It's like, are you ready? Are you ready? And then it's kind of the choice there, where some people go back in and bury themselves more under layers of denial and separation, and then other people break free. You know, and no love lost either way. You know, it's still there, but I would say the love that was lost is just like, well, shit. If in that denial, okay, you get your comfort, you go back to your comfort zone, but at what cost? Like, do you really feel better, or does it feel like the walls are closing in, and it's, you know, tightening, and it's tightening, and it's tightening, you know? That, at least that's the way it's felt for me. The more that I've literally squirrel. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought too, guys. You know, probably a little ADHD too. Isn't everybody? At this point, it's just like everybody's autistic, everybody's ADHD. If you're alive in this kind of world, you're probably different, or you're a zombie at this point. So, you know, kudos to you for being alive, guys. So I guess we can end it on that. You know, I'm feeling fairly high spirits. This is second to the last day, and then I'm back, like, literally on the streets again. And then I'm planning on camping for a while. I mean, it's not ideal, but at least we got warm weather now. It's so cold here in the winter and in the fall, so at least I don't have to worry about that for now. And then the shelters here are shit. All right, I'm gonna be very, very blatant with that. The millions of dollars have been put in to solve the homeless problem, and I would say 90% of it has been embezzled. You know, I'm making up that statistic, but when I was first homeless, 2022, there was 5 homeless shelters. All right, in my city area, in the Spokane area. All right, that I know of now. There's 2. Homeless? Do you think the situation's gotten worse or better? It's gotten worse. Now, this is why, guys. Like, maybe I'm a Christian at heart, Buddhist at heart. I don't know. It's really just like I see the system for what it is, and I can't comply with it, you guys. I can't comply with it. If signing a lease agreement, if working a job means sacrificing my integrity, I'd rather be homeless. I just straight up would rather be homeless. And it's funny because of my lifestyle and everything, even while homeless, I find work. I do stuff that I can do. I don't sit idly by. Like, I think a lot of the homeless people who are having problems, addicted, you know, drinking, drugs, you know, it's just, it's other shit, guys, you know, fucking meth, guys. It's bad here. It's bad. And so you know, it's just not time. You know, people who are struggling with addiction, they may or may not reach that point. In some ways, you know, as strange as this may sound, I think that some of the people who are dealing with the heavier addictions actually are closer to the truth than those who are very, you know, isolated in their comfort in their homes, working their jobs and everything. Because one day, like, it's gonna hit them where it'll be too late. And at that point, I don't know if they'll have they wouldn't have built the strength to be able to do anything. It's my fear. But you know, I'm talking about the fear and everything. It's not my deal. It's not my life. It's not my thing, right? Sense of self. I have a good sense of self, and we're all responsible. I can't save you guys, all right? You know, I'm sharing my light, sharing my love, but you know, that's all I can do. That's all I can do. So we'll keep it there. We'll keep it there. Thank you so much. I love doing these videos. I'll try to make some shorter ones, some short form ones. I like the long form content more, personally, but you know. And then yeah, probably more homeless stuff, more spiritual stuff. I got a lot more time coming forward. The only issue is going to be charging my phone. We'll have to see. I'll talk about more in another video about more of the homeless situation here and everything. So anyway, guys, as always, love you. Peace out. Love within. Catch you guys on the flip side.